Hello everybody, this is a Lamley showcase. Definitely not a preview because many of you around the world have found this set. It is just showing up in the United States. Mattel sent this to me to showcase for you. Very happy to do it because it's a very, very cool and very unique set. This is the brand new Fast and Furious Fast Rewind. We have seen several different takes on Fast and Furious from Hot Wheels, from the basic sets that they were doing at Walmart, to the unique cars that were in the entertainment series, to now this premium series, which has been fantastic. Introduced all kinds of fantastic new castings, especially that off-road set, which was put out a couple of months ago. But this may be their most unique take on Fast and Furious. We've talked about it. We've seen it discussed by Mattel at the convention. Fast Rewind is a kind of a what if, and just a completely different take on those very familiar cars from the Fast and Furious series. So, for example, the R34 Skyline, what would it look like if it were a Hakoska Skyline? That's essentially the take that it is. Now, I could go with all kinds of directions, and obviously the easiest direction to go would be to compare the past with the current. And you know what? I will give that to you, I promise. I'm only going premium, so this number 4 of 5, the Fairlady Z, has a 370Z counterpart from the basic set that was put out, but I'm only going premium, so I'm not including it. So I'm going to give that to you, but I'm going to give that to you at the end of the video. You know, once that music cues up and we want to compare those two, I'll give that to you to finish off the video. But I think there's more interesting ways to go about this because it's already been done. It's done in the artwork. As you can see, Julian Coyles went super creative on this. Obviously, I'm assuming Mattel went to the folks at Universal and Fast and Furious and said, we want to do a kind of a what-if series. And thankfully they liked it, but you can see the tie-in in the reflection in the card art. So RX-3 sitting on top, there it is, of the RX-7. And we can look at that artwork as we go. So we'll do those comparisons, but I also brought out the premium set, versions of each of these castings. It's neat to know that Mattel had already these castings. None of them are new except for the Nissan Silvia, and we'll definitely showcase that here in a little bit. But I thought it might be more fun to pull out the premium, meaning real rider versions of each of these castings. And again, we are missing one only because the Nissan Silvia is brand new, and we'll see that also show up in Japan Historics 3. So let's get right to it. We will start with number 1. We already talked about the artwork. Fast and Furious, it looks like Julian went different with every one of these pieces of art, including the background, it looks like. Yeah, it looks like it. This is the Mazda RX-3. I'll show you the back of the car just so you know. There's all that mumbo jumbo. There's that if you want it. And I'm going to keep making this mess, but let's keep going. Mazda RX-3. I'm almost proud of my lack of knowledge in the Fast and Furious movies. Obviously, I know that this is a comparison to the Mazda RX-7. I think because this casting was from the original Fast, the RX-7, that's what I know. I think it's from the first movie, right? So obviously it has the deco, even it's Mazda RX-3. I'm not a big fan of these decos, to be honest. I think the take on this is very, very creative, and it gives us a second version of the RX-3. That's what I'm most happy about. Obviously, you big Fast and Furious fans are going to love seeing these just in whatever deco they want to do. RX-3, that is a very, very cool model. We've had 3 different versions. Now, this is the 4th. It started in Japan Historics 3. So we actually don't have the front and rear detailing because when Car Culture first started, it was a kind of a mid-premium level. Then it was, I don't even remember what series this was in. Was it Race Day or something like that? Still in that older version of Car Culture, but really cool to see it on the 4 spokes. In fact, it was the RX-3 that debuted the 4 spokes, especially in chrome, and then we saw it in Japan Historics 3 recently in that beautiful clean orange. I think that's the best version so far, at least in my view, of the Mazda RX-3, but now we have 4 versions. Next one, really happy to see this casting return. It is the Nissan Skyline C210, obviously number 2 of 5. All right, so we can do this in order to show Julian's art. Look, we can just hold the card upside down so you can see the R33 Skyline, which is sitting right there in the reflection against the C210. So it shares the same deco as the R33. Again, am I a big fan of the deco? Not necessarily. So this one's not going to live up to the first version in purple from Japan Historics 3, but I think this version is still very, very cool, and I love this casting. It is so clean. And Japan Historics 3 was the introduction of the new premium, like super premium Fast and Furious, car culture, so larger cards, and we could see it in the execution of this and the Laurel, that these models were going to be a step above what we were typically, or what we were used to with Hot Wheels, just in terms of how precise the casting was, and I love the small wheels. Everything about this was a very, very cool casting. We finally have a second version of that. Hopefully we see a lot more. First version, I don't know if you're ever going to beat this beautiful purple release from Japan Historics 3. Just clean, 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 including that chrome steering wheel, which I think was just fantastic. All right, Hakosuka Skyline, Nissan Skyline HT 2000 GTX. Should we hold it upside down? There's that famous R34 in the reflection. But this one actually looks pretty good with that deco. Again, I'd rather see it plain, but we've seen it plain. So this one's pretty cool. Toyo Tires logo in the back, which is kind of nice. Some detailing in the front on this one. Sitting on the Watanabe style reel riders, which makes perfect sense with this casting. Funny that we've seen this casting a lot. It debuted in the basic range, and then we saw it in Boulevard alongside the 510 wagon when that debuted. Still a really, really clean version with the black hood and the black flares, but then we've seen the two racing versions ever since. We saw Japan Historics 1, that version in blue with that kind of that cream white, and then just recently in the JDM Legends Team Transport set. That's got to be the most complete version with all the detail in the front, side, top, everything. That's a very, very cool version. All of them share the same wheels, the exact same wheels, maybe different colors, of course, but a nice addition with that Fast and Furious version. Okay. How about the Nissan Fairlady Z? Let's go upside down. Number 4 or 5, that's the 370Z sitting in the reflection. We haven't seen a premium version of this casting. I think that maybe we will someday, I would guess, but not yet. And we let's see. I mean, we did have it in the Fast and Furious set, like one of those basic sets, and now we have it, obviously in this Fast Rewind version. This version is super, super clean. I actually like the deco on this one. I'm not real keen. I don't have to say it enough, right? Not terribly keen on the decos, but this one works really, really well, especially understated on the black over the gunmetal gray. Sitting on the gray 4 spokes. Love it. Actually, I'm actually really a big fan of this one. I don't know if I can say that this is my favorite version of this Z, only because I like it, but the first two were so great. This was the Fairlady Z. It had a new nose for premium and debuted in Japan Historics 2. Right? Have I been saying 3 in this video? I don't even know. But Japan Historics 2 in this really nice yellow color, and then we just saw it recently in Team Transport. This might be the best version of this casting in an actual racing livery. Vintage racing livery, which looks really, really nice. Nice and complete. And I even like those mag-style reel riders on it. 3 versions. And as always, they like to reserve the new casting for the end of the set. Number 5 of 5 is the Nissan Silvia CSP 311. We have seen this casting on the Lamley YouTube channel because we were able to take an early prototype. It was sitting on, what was it, glow-in-the-dark wheels, which is kind of funny, sitting in a bad yellow color. But Mattel lent that model to me to be able to take over to my friends at JDM Legends so they could give us a little history lesson while they had a Silvia actually in their shop at the time. That is long gone, but we took advantage of that and were able to kind of get a preview of the Silvia, and Eric was able to really give us some nice background. But here it is. I thought we'd seen it in Japan Historics 3 first, but we're seeing it in this Rewind series. And it being the last car means it's the new casting. Not always is there a new casting in each set, but there is in this one. This one obviously shares the same deco as the S15, right, Silvia? And does it work on this casting? No. Here, we'll hold this upside down. You can see the Silvia there. Does it work? No. Does it need to? Well, obviously we're getting a really beautiful version in Japan Historics 3. So I'm not going to complain too much because the casting is cool. It looks cool sitting on these 4-spoke wheels. So I doubt you'll see a Silvia driving around. Well, you'll rarely see a Silvia driving a CSP 311 only because there's so few of them. But you'll never see it in this color. But hey, it works for the concept, right? And I'm not complaining at all because it's nice to have this casting. And it's nice to have it in this set and this unique take. So there you are. Fast rewind. Really, really cool execution. While I don't know if it totally makes sense, all of it, it's still a really cool idea and a very unique idea. Some of you might say, well, why didn't we do a Dodge Charger or why didn't we do some of these others? I get the question. At the same time, I don't know how interesting it would be. And maybe that's a little bit of my bias. But a black Hellcat Charger with the black, I don't know if it would work. It would be kind of cool to have a premium version of the Charger, so I wouldn't complain about that. But I think the way this one starts, knowing the interest in JDM these days, I think this is a very, very cool set, and it makes sense. So there you guys go. I told you I'd put these together with their actual counterparts, so let's do that to finish up the video. Thanks, everybody. Bye.